Well, back already. I went into the church. I have no way of knowing in advance whether there's going to be a woman on the platform or not. And there sometimes is. And this was one of those days. So I was welcomed into the church by a lady that I know because she attends the Bible class. And she's a very keen church member and always smiling. And I asked her who was preaching, and she gave me the name of a woman. And I thanked her and asked her to put my collection money where I could leave my collection money. But I only put £5 in. It's really a very small amount, but I'm rather poor at the moment. And anyway, I only support some very limited aspects of the activities in that church. And so she took my £5, stressed, "Are you not coming in?" And of course I'm not. And I left. And that's happened a few times now. Not because I want to make a spectacle, but I simply don't know, and I won't go in. And there was another man up there who I like. He'd regularly at the coffee mornings, and we chat. And he was arriving as I left. And I suppose facetiously, I cautioned him that there was a woman on the platform, and he replied confidently, "I know." Why would you go into a church when there's a woman on the platform as a man? You can't do it. Adam was rebuked for listening to his wife. We are not to be taught by women. It's clear in the Bible. The case of Deborah doesn't really make a difference. And if you read carefully, you will understand why. Deborah was a prophetess, which is quite a... So she had a direct line, as it were. And she wasn't a preacher or a teacher, she was a judge. And she was a reluctant judge, because there was no man that stepped forth to take up the position. And she remarked on that herself. I don't believe women have no value. Nothing could be further from the truth. But you can't start praising God by disregarding his word in such a blatant and open way. It's disrespectful. I personally don't like to be, I've never enjoyed being taught by a woman. Once I became a man, I've always found it to be slightly patronizing and condescending. And of course I had women teachers in the school, but mainly men, fortunately. My mother taught me, of course, but I think she's the last one. So there have been many people who wanted to teach me since that time. My wife first and foremost. But I didn't appreciate her lessons whatsoever. They were so cockeyed and back to front and arbitrary and changeable. It's the problem with women teaching. Why would you go in, you see? A woman can only really teach women. And in fairness, the men are so effeminate, really, and emasculated in the church and in many areas of society that it doesn't really matter to them. If they're married, they're probably ruled by their wives. People laugh about it, but it's a real thing. Men are afraid of their wives. They allow them to run amok and to do as they please. and they try to fit in the home, and they become weak. We're not to do those things. We are to walk alone rather than do something like that. And then women will be, as it were, gradually reformed when they understand that my brothers and I, we're not playing any more of those silly games. It will have an effect on society, and it's faithful to the Lord also. A virtuous woman is more precious than rubies, Solomon teaches. But who can find her? Solomon was unable to find one in Ecclesiastes out of 1,000, I think. Let's say that's hyperbole, but certainly it's a rare occurrence, and all the more precious for it. But if you read the Bible and you've been to divinity college and you've actually read it, and you're a woman, how can you then go and stand before a congregation and preach without blushing from the roots of your hair down to your neck? It's wickedness, it's disobedience from the onset. And my brothers shouldn't really submit to it. I used to listen to Joyce Meyer, obviously a woman preacher. Maybe some people know her. She's quite entertaining on YouTube. After a while, I realized that she was mainly speaking to women in her groups, and the men of the type that I've described previously. She's quite a vigorous speaker and quite funny in places. And, she could share some scriptural truth that you would have struggled to find in, the most faithful Baptist or Presbyterian assembly, because the church is just so lost. It's a matter of contention. And my theory is the church that I'm going to is the nearest one to my house. That's the only reason I'm going. And because also, I think it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to encounter this sort of stuff. It may be more subtle. There may be more lip service paid. But ultimately, the churches are being used to deceive the ecclesia, is it called? To deceive God's children and to persuade us that we are not as described in the Holy Bible, and to dissuade us from really reading as the way that we are described, and our wickedness, and the blessings also that await us. They're all there, but they won't be revealed if we just listen to some Freemason or deceiver or ungodly man or woman speaking from the platform. God bless this morning.